Before we begin, a couple announcements. Also, I want to say this. I went to the girls' basketball game yesterday, which was a fun game. They were an athletic team, we're an athletic team, but I have to say, Sydney Lamb must have had 55 rebounds in that game. It was awesome. She grabs every single rebound that comes her way, kicks it to Hayden, and then we're out. We have Kara, Anya, Lucia in the corner, hitting threes. It was awesome. So congrats on a big win. That's a good team. So yesterday was fun in the morning, and math counts, you got your certificate. Your t-shirts are on my desk. I'm questioning some of the size requests, but all the t-shirts are on my desk. There's a list. You could just go in my office, cross your name out the list, off the list. I trust you to be in my office without me. And then take your shirt, hang it on your wall, wear it, whatever you need to do. Cool? All right, lastly, 2 things. So remember, we have the ski trip. People are asking me, like, can I sign up on the last day? It's not really a sign up. I'm not going up there and chaperoning. We're going up, you're going with parents, caregivers, or friends' parents. We're gonna meet in the lodge, you ski, and then we're gonna meet for lunch, take a school picture, and then you're on your own. So I hope to ski with many of you. We have like 35 plus families signed up. So even if you're thinking and you're on the edge of like, I may go, I may not, you should come, it'll be a good time. All right? And then last, don't forget, Friday, what do we have in the afternoon? Mrs. Fields, what do we have?
Pep rally!
Pep rally. All right, you can wear green or white for that. And then 2 requests for students to stay. After this, I need to see Thomas, Finn, and Taylor to prep for next week. You'll find out. And then the 6th grade is going to stay, and we're going to talk about some transitions with Canvas, how we're going to use it, and how we're going to coincide that with planners. Okay? So 6th grade, you're not processing, you're going to stay. You're going to come up to the front row, and then we begin. All right? Our second half of our discussion. And if 6th grade teachers, if you're not teaching, you could stay as well, just to reinforce what we talked about in our last grade meeting. All right, announcements are over. So I'm not going to do the full introduction, but I'm excited because it is Visiting Artists Week, and as a former art teacher, I got here and I'm like, Visiting Artists Week, what is that? We have a full week dedicated to an outside artist to come in and share their experience with you, which is, in my view, I've never even heard of something like this at a different school. So we are very lucky to have an outside artist join us. And I'm not going to go too deep, but when I was reading the bio and talking to Miss Nauer in the beginning stages of this while she was planning, a couple things stuck out to me. Sustainability and woodwork. And joining the 2 is incredibly special, especially with that sustainability piece. So that's all I'm going to say, and that's why I'm excited that you're here. And I'm going to let Miss Nauer do the full introduction.
Good morning, middle school. Good morning. Hey. So this is like one of my favorite weeks of the year, every year, and it's different every year, and that's why it's awesome. So Visiting Artist Week, I have once again tapped my pool of former students, and I don't do that lightly. I do that because there are some amazing people out there doing amazing things, and I am fortunate enough to have been a small part of their journey. And I'm still like, what are you doing now? Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Like, I live vicariously through them, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Absolutely amazing. So this morning, you are going to be hearing from Kristen Snow. She and her husband, Greg, have a furniture building company where everything is sourced locally. They make everything by hand. And one thing I want to kind of mention, because this is unusual for us, because of the nature of the way I teach, they're making art that is not just beautiful and beautifully crafted, but it's also functional. So like they're not just making a sculpture so that you look at it, admire it, and think about it. They're making functional pieces. So these are art pieces that become part of your everyday living. And I think that's absolutely brilliant, and I know it's really hard to do. So that's kind of awesome. So I met Kristen a million years ago when I taught at the high school level, and I was new to that school. She was a freshman, and she was one of the first genuinely positive, friendly people I met at that school. And it just like, oh, this will work out. I'm going to be okay here. There's people like this here. I can do this. And I'm just very excited to get to reconnect with her this week and to share what she's doing with you guys. So please welcome Kristen Snow.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here with all of you. It's really special being able to reconnect with Miss Nauer. I remember being in her classes in high school, and she's definitely a big part of where I am today. So she says a small part, but the teachers that you have in your lives are really important, so you should thank them. So my name is Kristen Snow. My husband, Greg Fugay, and I own a furniture design company. His last name is Fugay, and the name of the company is Fugs, so that's partially, or mainly why that's named that. We both studied sculpture at Tyler School of Art in Philadelphia. It's a really amazing place. I definitely recommend checking it out if you get a chance. A lot of people think when I say that I got a degree in sculpture that I learned how to carve marble. I did not learn how to carve marble. But what I did learn is how to build things. I was taught how to use a wood shop and how to weld and cut metal, and that really helped me feel more confident in starting a furniture business. That's Greg and me and our dog Dee Dee that we bring to our studio a lot. Through the sculpture program, we both became interested in spaces, how humans interact with spaces like rooms, like your kitchen or your bedroom or your living room, how we decide to decorate our spaces, like what you put on the wall in your bedroom, or like how your parents organize your living space, how we interact with outside places, like the natural world around us, how we treat our environment, and very importantly, we were really interested in what kind of furniture we use. These ideas led us to start Fugs. Our business has three main focuses. So this is some of our furniture. I forgot this slide. We released a furniture line last year. Before that, we were doing custom works. We were meeting in people's houses talking about what they wanted to see in their homes, and we decided that we would feel more creatively fulfilled if we created our own line of furniture. So we designed a dining chair, a bench, a sling chair, a coffee table, some shelving, and a dining table. We got together and kind of like did that all last year and then released it, and that's kind of what we've been working on since then, along with meeting with people to do some custom work occasionally. So, back to our three main business focuses is form, function, and future. Form means the way the piece of furniture is designed, the creativity put into it. We want them to be beautiful and to look pleasing in a space. A big part of our inspiration has been woodworkers in the past. Two particular woodworkers are Wharton Escherick and George Nakashima, who both lived in this area and worked in this area, so you can go to their studios and their houses and see all of the furniture they make, which is really cool. George Nakashima is a Japanese woodworker and has a very different style than Wharton Escherick, who is, I believe, from around here and kind of has more of like a, organic feel. They're both very different, very cool. I would recommend that you go check them out sometime. So those are big inspiration people for us. When we are designing pieces of furniture, we take what we've learned and then we add our own creative instincts and artistic motivations. We talk a lot and we draw a lot. We do a lot of sketches about like what kind of furniture we want to see and like how we want to like manifest it in the world. And then we start making prototypes. These are test pieces that help us see what the pieces look like three-dimensionally. We'll actually like think, okay, we're building a big chair, let's like build a small one. So we have all these like little small pieces all over our studio to try to visualize what they're gonna look like in like human size form. And then after that, we like build a big like actual form of it, and we have our friends test it. It's really important for us to have furniture that fits different types of bodies, and me and my husband are around the same size, so we really try to get it out in the world and have as many people test it as possible to make sure that it's comfortable, because we recognize that we have a different perspective, and not everyone has that perspective. So that's really important to us. So after we do that, then we say, okay, we think this is good, and we release it and put it out on our website and kind of announce it to the world that it is available for purchase. The next F of the 3 Fs is function. Function is connected with what I just said. It means that we want our furniture to work for people, we want it to be comfortable, we want it to be useful, and we really want it to last a long time. There's a lot of furniture out there, I'm sure that even y'all have experienced, like you buy an IKEA like little side table or something and it breaks, or like we just have a lot of furniture in our lives right now that doesn't last a long time. And it's really important for us, if somebody's purchasing a piece of our art, that it lasts for their lifetime. And it does. They're very long lasting. Our furniture is made to be lived with. We want people to make use of the things that we build. So we pay a lot of attention to what people need and what people want in a chair or table or bench. This is a picture. We were in a big craft show last year, and our booth ended up being the one that a lot of the other vendors in the area came and hung out with and like just chilled with us, which was really fun. So we not only had a place where we were displaying our art, but we also had a place where a lot of the art vendors could just like hang out and kind of like chat about what it's like to be an artist and be selling in this big convention. And it felt really good for me to like be validated that our space is not only beautiful and it has this amazing furniture, but the people in the area just wanted to like hang out and like make a little friendly space together. So the last F is future. We want our furniture to be good for the planet, and we want it to be good for the people using it, so that we and the natural world around us have long, healthy lives. A lot of furniture, unfortunately, has a lot of toxicity in the process that it's made or in the material that it ends up like in the finished product. And we want to make sure that that is not a part of our process. We make sure that in every step there is clarity and non-toxicity. I don't know where, so this is very important to us because there are so many things in our lives that we don't have information for where it came from or what it was made. Like I don't know where this shirt came from, I just got it from the thrift store. Or I don't know like what materials are in my phone. And that is something that I've started to get more curious about, knowing where things come from that I own, because it's important to me. It's important for me to know what is around me. I want to know that the people that made my clothes or my food were paid well and taken care of. I want to be aware of how costly it is to get the things that I buy transported to me. There's a lot of pollution in the world, and a big part of that comes from transporting items or how they're made. At Fugues, we've made this a priority with our business. We try the best we can to make sure that we know where our materials come from. That being said, we have, so I'm going to explain our process some of why we can be really confident about the clarity of our furniture and our art. So that's me standing on top of a giant pile of logs. That's at Aubrey Arboretum, which is in Philadelphia. All of our work is based in the city. You have the amazing privilege of being out on this campus with all of this nature, and it's really incredible. In Philly, we have a lot less green space, so one of the places that we take our trees from is called Aubrey, and they have a lot of green space. It's really incredible. It's quite a gift. Every single piece of our furniture comes from trees that grow in Philadelphia. The majority of them come from an arboretum in Germantown called Aubrey. It's a really lovely place with lots of different kinds of gardens. They have a goat herd. They have a lot of beehives. They have a lot of gardens. And all of that is for the purpose of serving the citizens of Philly. So a lot of people get their food from there. People can get honey from there. People can get healing herbs from there. It's a really amazing place. When they have trees that are sick or need to come down because there's a storm or they need to move it to create space for a farm project, they'll cut the trees down and bring them over to our area. A lot of those trees right there came down because they needed to make space for a Philly tree project plant, which will like grow fruit trees and educate people on how to grow food in the city. We have a large sawmill. This is really cool. This is about the size of a big truck, and it has a really huge saw blade on it. It's kind of a little bit scary. Like, I work with a lot of power tools, but this saw is like this big and has these huge teeth, and we usually roll it up into like a circle, and then when we need to open it up to put it on the blade, we have to throw it out away from us, and it makes this crazy like boing kind of spring noise. So we put the blade on that circle, and it moves and cuts these logs. So we roll the logs up onto the sawmill, and then we cut them into lumber. You're probably more used to seeing lumber if you go with one of your parents to like Lowe's or Home Depot or something. We basically like take the round tree and then cut it into lumber like that. And then after that process, that's what a tree looks like when you open it up. It's really beautiful. It also has a lot of sawdust. We have sawdust everywhere. And they're very wet. Something that I didn't really realize about trees is that they're really full of water. So when we cut them, they're very damp, and we need to dry them out to make them into furniture. So that process happens in a couple different stages. We have these large lumber stacks right here that we keep these like metal coverings over to make sure that they air dry out without getting rain or snow on them. So that happens for 2 years, which is a long time. This like whole process is really time consuming, so we put a lot of investment in it. So we take the trees, we cut them into lumber, and then we stack them to let them air dry. And then after that, we built a solar kiln. A solar kiln is basically like a shed that has a clear plastic roof on it and fans inside, and it's painted black on the interior so that when we put the, we just got a tractor, which is really exciting. So we use a tractor instead of me carrying lumber, which is there. We take the tractor and we move these stacks of lumber into the kiln. We shut the doors, and then we have these little solar panels that panel the fans, and the clear roof allows the sun to come in, so all of that makes it really hot, and it gets up to about 140 degrees in there. And we keep the lumber in there for about a month, and it dries out to be kiln dry, which is like the woodworking lumber term for most of the lumber that you want to be using to make it furniture. You may have seen bowls. Bowls are usually turned with wet wood, so they'll usually take the tree without it being dried and make it into a bowl that way. If you have more questions about that, we can talk about that in a class. But we dry them there and then bring them to our studio, which is, here's some pictures here. Up there is Greg with some dried lumber. It still basically looks like a tree when we bring it to the studio, and we have to process it from there. So we will remove the bark from the outside. We'll cut it down into a more square form if that's helpful for what we're building. If we're building a chair or something, we have a bandsaw and a lathe and a table saw, a lot of equipment. If you have questions about that, we can talk about it too. Those are some shelves that we built for a house. They're made out of black walnut. So something that I'll talk about a little bit later that's really cool is that we're able to work with several different wood types that have all different colors, which is really exciting because people think that, I don't know, you need to go to different parts of the world to get different colors or different forms of wood, but we really have what we need right here. We have like, we work with only hardwood, so they're really dense. And we have a lot of different options for that. So that's like the in process of the sling chair we were making. This is another in process. This is, the chairs take a lot of math to put together. which is something that I focus a lot on the marketing and like making the chairs, and Greg is really, really good at calculating all of the specific math that we need to put chairs together. So if you're more of like a math calculating kind of person and you're like, I don't know if art's for me, that's not true, because you can use a lot of, like you really do need math in a lot of art. And in order to make these chairs and replicate them, we have to have a system for how we put that together. So we make all of the pieces and then we construct them. I was making a candle holder a few weeks ago, and this little dried bug like popped out of it. I was like, oh my gosh, and I showed Greg, and it's really interesting. I mean, the furniture, like the wood we work with is alive, so bugs get into it and then the kiln like dries it out, so usually they die in the kiln, and that's kind of the purpose, because we don't want to bring a bunch of bugs into our studio. But every once in a while when we're working with it, we'll have a bug just pop out of the wood, and we're like, okay, this is really alive, this is fun. It was dead, I just pulled it out of there, but yeah. So this is the different wood types that we have. I'm trying to, it's a little hard for me to see, but let me try to. So the one on the far end is poplar, ash, maple, blackened locust. Locust is a tree that has like a lighter color, but we darken it because that's a desirable thing for people. Like they want black furniture in their houses. There's cherry, black walnut, and then two kinds of oak. We work with a lot of different kinds of oak, but we generally just put like red or white oak in the same compartment. So that's unebonized oak, and that is ebonized oak. So we have a lot of different colors, and that's all the natural wood. We don't need to stain it, we don't need to paint it, we just have these colors accessible for us to use. And all of our furniture can be made out of any of these trees. And that's what's really cool, is all of this comes from trees that are just like growing in our area. We don't need to go anywhere to access them. So last really quick, what we're gonna be doing this week is ebonizing wood. That is it's a scientific chemical process where we take vinegar and steel wool and dissolve the steel wool in the vinegar. So it's a fairly natural substance. And then we're gonna paint oak, which is high in tannins. Tannins are naturally occurring acid chemicals in tree sap, and it stays after the tree dries. So basically what we're gonna be doing is a chemical process that darkens the wood instead of using a stain or something that maybe has toxins in it or is not as safe. And that will darken the wood. So this chair, for example, was a really light tan when we built it, but then we wanted to ebonize it and darken it. And so we put the vinegar on it, and it darkened it. So I'm excited to do that with you. And I think that's my time. So thank you so much for listening quietly, and I'm really looking forward to working with you each in class. And I worked with you some yesterday. Okay, bye. Thank you.